Hi everyone. Today also we're gonna be doing a reading test in terms of Cambridge IELTS 7 test 2 reading passage 3. As you see, the topic is Makete integrated rural transport system. So this is the town, I think, right? The city which is located in the African countries, right? So let's see, Tanzania, right? It's situated in Tanzania. All right, let's look into the details, okay? All right, the first question type is about a list of headings, which means this one is matching headings. The next one is about yes, no, not given, and the next one is it's also the finding correct endings, which means we've been given some sort of the beginning and we need to figure out which one or ones could be a suitable to these ones, right? And the last one is about multiple choice questions. It's about especially the figuring out the main idea of the text, right? So as usual, let's do with the yes no not given, because as you see here, we have list of headings and it sometimes takes our time a lot, and that's why let's begin with yes no not given, which means would be a lot easier, right? MIRTP was divided into 5 phases, so this is our keyword. And then prior to the start of MIRTP, the district, Makete district, was almost inaccessible during the rainy season, right? And phase 1, this is a number, consists of a survey of household expenditure on transport, right? It's about on transport. And survey concluded that 1/5, which means 20% of household transport requirement is outside the local area. So it's outside of the local area. And MIRTP hoped to improve movement of goods from Makete district to the country's capital. So from Makete to capital, right? And hope to improve. All right. Let's look for the words like how many phases do we have here. So let's look for the words. Okay, so numbers, right? We need numbers. As you see, we have the word phase 1 here. All right. Do we have phase 2? Yeah, we have phase 2. So what about phase 3? Next one. Phase 3, we have phase 3. So do we have phase 4 and 5? So do we have phase 4 and 5? You see, we didn't have phase 4 and 5, which means it's no, right? Because according to this text, according to this information, MIRTP should be divided into 5 parts, but it's not. It's 3 parts, right? So prior to start of MIRTP, project began, right? So when the project began, Makete district was virtually totally isolated during the rainy season. Wow, that's the keyword, right? And let's write it down here, 32. Just in terms of 31, it's somehow difficult to write it down any number, so let's try it down 31 here, because it could be concluded by looking through the information, just like by scanning information, right? Like scanning and skimming. So all right. And as you see, when the project began and the start of MIRTP, this is the project, Makete district was virtually totally isolated, which means almost inaccessible during rainy season, which means yes. So phase 1 MIRTP consists of a survey of household expenditure, right? Household expenditure on transport. Expenditure means money, right? Regional Phase 1, we have the word phase 1 here. December focused on research. The socio-economic survey of more than 400 households in the district indicated that households in Makete spent on average 7 hours a day on transporting themselves and their goods, figure which seemed extreme but which is also obtained survey in rural areas. So as you just recognize here, it says spend on average 7 hours a day, but according to here they should spend money on transport, but according to here they spend hours, time, and that's why it's no. Sorry, it's no. And the next one, the survey concluded that 1/5 of 20%, do we have percent? Yeah. This 1%, number. All right, household transport requirement outside the local area. So within the locality, as you see, 80% was within the locality, which means 20% is outside of the locality. Somehow the logic, right? It requires logical thinking. So sorry, it's yes. And I should be writing here 32, 34, sorry, 34, 33, right? And MIRTP hoped to improve the movement of goods from Makete to the district, Makete district to the country's capital. So transport, main transport, we have a keywords here. So it might reduce the time and burden, and number of approaches were implemented in an effort to improve mobility and transport. So where is the word district? Where is here? We have the word district, but export of goods. So where is the word capital? Do we have the word capital here? No, you see, we don't have the word capital. That's why we could write like 35, but it should be not given, right? Which means there is the word, there is no information in terms of the improvement of movement of the goods from Makete district to the country's capital, right? So let's move on to the next ones. Construction of footbridge. This is the keyword. Footbridge, steps, and handrails. So let's highlight these words. Footbridge, steps, and handrails. Frequent breakdown of bus and trucks. Frequent breakdown. Frequent means just often, right? The improvement of secondary roads and path. All right, the next one, the isolation of Makete for the part of the year. Okay, like rainy seasons, right? Let's try to figure out these keywords just from here, okay? So do we have footbridge, steps, handrails? Do we have such words? Yeah, we have steps, handrails, footbridge, which means the answer lies here. Most goods were transported along the path that provide shortcuts up and down the hillsides, but the path were a real safety risk and made the journey on foot even more arduous. It made sense to improve path by building steps and handrails and footbridge. So do we have such information here? Like the ending of the sentence, provide the people Makete special successful differed from earlier, improved path. Yeah, improved path. So the answer should be D, because we have such keywords here in transport up and down hillsides, right? Path building. It made sense here. And we have the word down and hillside here, short cut-ups providing, right? Okay, that's why it should be D, and let's just try to cross it out. and let's write it down 36 here. And frequent breakdown of buses and trucks in Makete. So breakdown, technically not working, it means, right? Uncommon fund transport that were efficient and working but less technologically advanced. Breakdown, so do we have such word? So transport problem, we have keywords, maybe had different degrees of success, focused on refinement and institutionalization, right? Somehow difficult to pronounce. And so you see, we have the word path and secondary roads here. I mean this one. So let's just try to find out the correct answer for this question, okay? Path and secondary roads were improved only at the request of communities who are willing to participate in construction. So let's just try to highlight this word. Were improved only at the request of community. Community is people, right? Who are willing to participate in construction and maintenance. So do we have such words? So improvement of secondary road in path, no longer a problem. Cost was done only at the request of the local people. Yeah, local people here can be synonym to community. Request, we have the word request. Done, do we have improved? So, willing to participate, right? Willing to participate. Who are willing to lend a hand? Willing to lend a hand can be a synonym to participation here, right? So the answer should be G here. Okay, so let's just try to cross it out. And isolation of Makete. I think I had found, right? Isolation. Here, the word isolation. Makete district was virtually totally isolated during the rainy season. The regional road was in such a bad shape that access to the main town was impossible for 3 months of the year, right? So it was impossible. And somehow, just in terms of 38, the location should be here, the isolation of Makete, because the 38's answer just located here, which means 39 should be somehow nearby. Okay, yeah, the road improvements and accompanying maintenance system had helped make the district center accessible throughout the year, right? Maybe there has been some improvements, such words, right? Okay, was at first considered provided people, was this bill successful, different from earlier, was no longer problem once the road had been improved. Yeah, no longer problem here, you see. Road improvements are accompanying maintenance had helped make district center accessible throughout the year, which means 24/7, right? No longer problem once roads had been improved. So the correct answer should be E, and let's just cross it out. Alright, frequent breakdown. Efforts to improve efficiency of existing transport service was not very successful because most of the motorized vehicles in the district broke down. Yeah, I think we just could figure out the location of the question, right? I mean answer. There were no resources to repair them, even the introduction of low-cost means. So consider emerged to be affordable, hindered attempt to make was thought. So let's write it down here, 39, 38, and let's just highlight here as 37, okay? So the efforts to improve the efficiency of the existing transport system were not very successful, which means that's why And this is the reason most of the motorized vehicles in the district broke down, and there were no research to repair them. Provided more people know, was especially successful in the modern no, different from earlier phases, cost less than logical, locally, was at first considered by MIRTP, hindered attempt to make the more efficient, right, here, hindered attempts, right, hindered attempt means stopped, right, so there was no research to repair them, which means hindered attempts to make existing transport service more efficient, so which means existing transport service were not very successful. They are not efficient because there are problems here, right? Hindrance here. So because there were no research to repair them. That's why the answer should be I here. Okay, let's just talk about here. Which of the following phrases best describes the main aim of the reading passage 3, which means the all meaning, right? In order to just extract the all meaning, I think reading this and reading this could help us to figure out what it's talking, what it's discussing, right? The disappointing results of many conventional road transport projects in Africa had led some experts to rethink, right? This problem just led some experts to rethink the strategy by which rural transport problems were to be tackled at the beginning, right? Of the 1980s, the request for help in improving the availability of transport within the remote, improving availability of transport within the remote Makete district of southwestern Tanzania presented the opportunity to try a new approach. Okay, so the concept of integrated rural transport was adopted in the task of examining the transport needs of the rural household district. Okay, objective. Its objective was something, right time and effort. And let's just roll down here. Today, nobody argues about importance of improving the path and expensive means of transport. This is a result of dedicated work. The concept of integrated rural transport is now well established, and where major program of rural transport is just about to start, right? And experience from Makete will help in this initiative, and Makete district will act as a reference for future work. So to suggest, it's not suggestion, there is no recommendation here. There could be description, and examining, no. Warning, totally no. I think it should be describing, because describing how MIRTP was implemented. Yeah, implemented means done, and successful. Yes, it was successful here, right? And transport is now well established. It means successful, right? Description. Of course, it's description. It's not suggestion. It's not examination or warning, right? So let's just get back to the first one. I mean the list of headings. Okay, so if you see here, section A has been done for us. I mean the answer is 6, so let's just try to cross it out 6, but let's rethink why it has been done for us and why it was 6. Okay, section A, the disappointing results of many conventional road systems. So there was some problem here, and then African leaders, I mean experts, are made to rethink the strategy in order to tackle the problem at the beginning of the 1980s, and there was a request in order to improve the availability of transport here, I mean in the district of Makete, which is located in the southwestern Tanzania, presented opportunity to try a new approach, right? And here, request. Do we have the word request here? Yeah. because let some expert to rethink, which means it's a request. Improved transport, yeah, opportunity to try a new approach, improving availability of transport. And you see, that's why it should be section A, that's why it should be 6, just according to the list of headings. And let's get to the section B. When the project began, Makete district was virtually totally isolated during the rainy season. And there was some problem here, impossible to just get through here. I mean, people relied primarily on the path, which were slippery and dangerous during the rains. Before solutions could be proposed, problems had to be understood. I think this could be somehow a keyword here, right? I mean, they are referring to the understanding of the problems, just in order to do to figure out the solutions, right? Before to figure out the solutions, we have to understand what is problem here, right? And do we have such words here? Because just I mean, in the list of headings, as a future model, this should be keyword identifying the main transport problem. You see, identify, I think understood, right? Transport problem, there's a word problem. And do we have transport? Little was known about the transport. Yeah, we have the word transport, demands of the rural household. So phase 1, between December 1985 December 1997, focused on the research. Yeah, you see, this is the answer here, and the answer should be 2, right? I mean, yeah, identifying the main transport problems. And let's just try to cross it out and write it down here. Transport, and it's 28. All right. Section C. Having determined the main transport needs, which means after having analyzed it, after having just identified the main transport necessities, then possible solutions could be, right, were identified, which might reduce the time and burden. During phase 2, from January to February 1991, a number of approaches were implemented. In an effort to improve mobility and access to transport, right? So, do we have such information here? Preference for motorized vehicle, government authorities' instructions, initial improvements in mobility and transport modes. Transport improvements in northern part. This could look like the correct answer and this one, but here I think northern part of the district could be somehow a trap because we don't have such location here, right? So, and that's why we have to be super careful in order to choosing a correct answer here. And as you see, we have information about a number of approaches were implemented in an effort to improve mobility and access to transport. And this means initial improvements in mobility and transport models, right? And that's why we have to write here 28, right? 28. Okay, so this should be 27. Sorry again. All right. And section D has been done for us, which means we have to cross it out as well. Okay, section E. You see, section E and F are so small so that we can make our judgment easier, right? It could have been easy to criticize MIRTP for using in early phases a top-down approach in which decisions were made by experts and officials, right? Before being handed down communities. It was necessary to start the process from the level of the governmental authorities of the district. So it was necessary to start the process from the levels of the government authorities of the district. It would have been difficult to respond to, oh, right, do we have such government? Yeah, we have the word government instruction authority and right, district official. And as you see, we have two type of list of headings, but maybe we could be in a dilemma here, which one could be the most suitable one, but we have to be super careful, when it comes to choosing the correct one, right? So right, instruction, is there a word instruction? So let's see. So in which decisions were made by experts and officials, so before being handed down to community, which means cooperation, right? And that's why the answer should be cooperation. So let's highlight these words and writing 29, and let's write here okay 9. And next, the last one. Today nobody in the district argues about the importance of improved path. So the concept of integrated rural transport is now well established, and district will act as a reference of future work, which means future model, right? So this work can be a future model, and that's why the answer should be 1. Okay. So everyone, I hope you will find it useful and beneficial for your study and in terms of Cambridge analysis, I think, right? So that's all for today. Thank you for your attention. See you next time.